Good evening, everybody. I hope everyone's doing well. This will not be the most formal show. I kind of threw the slides together at the last minute. Let me get this camera adjusted a little bit. I can't wait to get a new arm for this thing. It always messes up, and I need to get a new ring light. Anyway, thank you for joining me. We have one more on this ungodly West Coast swing, and then I don't think we have another really long stretch of games where we have to stay up this late to watch the team. We'll get to have some stuff at home and everything. The Canes will be back home to play the Bruins on Halloween, which I find to be very appropriate considering Halloween is 40 other games out of the year to a lot of other people who decide to wear Canes sweaters for 39 or 40 games, but then there's one they wear Bruins ones too. So it's good that it's strategically scheduled on Halloween. Good job, Hurricanes front office, and scheduling people. So a little bit of channel news before I get into some other stuff, and we'll get to some of the comments in here, and then we'll get into the slides and everything like that. I don't know. Am I Missouri Mike? I might be. But anyway, so some channel news here. Now that I've hit 500 subscribers, I'm able to do, or I'm sorry, 500 followers on X, I'm able to do subscriber content. I'm not going to do that with anything I do now. What I would like to start doing is I want to start writing articles. I want to have written content, and not all that's going to be subscriber based, but I'm thinking about putting together some really big, detailed written pieces that would be at the minimum subscription, but that is a long time from now before I'm going to do that. It'll be at least a few months. And I also want to have a roadmap of exactly how I want to go about it. It will not change anything in regards to the channel and the content that you see now. Landfall Hour, Damage Report, those are always going to be available. The only way I would charge for those is if it became a full-time job, and this never will be. I'd be happy to rake in some side cash. If I could like make a truck payment and pay for my ice time with it, I'd be happy. But there is some expansion coming to the content. Another reason for that is I want to start competing with some of these other websites that, you know, without me mentioning them, you can probably already guess who I'm talking about, purposely post misleading article titles, chock it full of URLs, hyperlinks, and ads, and force themselves to the front page of Google and then criticize other people for not being on the front page of Google, even though they did it in a rather controversial or questionable manner. So written stuff is coming from me. It'll be very, very stat heavy, very like heavy on detailed explanations of some of the observations I make and everything like that. So I would love to. Paniac, you're pushing it, bud. But yeah, so I will have stuff like that. And in addition to that, I'm going to try and start doing a monthly like report. I'm thinking about calling it the season chart, where I will break down the numbers of everything the Canes did by the month, highlight a couple of players and everything like that. Additionally, I am working on a new slide presentation for the Landfall Hour show and for Damage Report, so that way it can be standardized and everything is covered exactly the same in every single show. Of course, with winning elements and things like that to be its own individual things tailored to whatever particular game that is. So let's see here. Let's get to some of the comments and then we'll get to the rest of the stuff. Oh, we got a lot of viewers tonight. Jesus Christ, 54. Thanks, guys. All Canes Network, what's up, dude? If the Canes win tonight, then I will get McDonald's before the game on Thursday. It's the rules. Well, see, the cool thing about it is, oh, wait, no, they haven't brought back all-day breakfast yet, have they? Those damn communists. Bring back, I should be able to get a McGriddle at any hour. Bring it back, McDonald's. Coconut Kyle, glad to be here chatting. Rough day on the job. Let's go, Canes. I feel you on that, dude. I'm glad you're here and hope this helps you decompress and the Canes can win tonight to help out, too. BTS, good to see you, buddy. It's so weird seeing Stamkos on the visiting side, also yellow. Yeah, I saw the clip of that, and when they were doing the tribute to him, like you could see like Victor Hedman, like you could clearly see where he was crying and everything. It was rather touching, and I'm not a Steven Stamkos fan at all. Coconut Kyle, everyone seems sure he would re-sign Tampa Bay last offseason. wouldn't bet against it. I didn't. I did not bet against it at all. I was like, yeah, there's no way he's leaving. That's why when people start talking about can Mikko Rantanen be a Kane, I'm like, I don't think he's going to leave Colorado. I know there's some smoke around that right now, but everybody and their mother said that Nate just was not going to be with the Hurricanes, and he's on his way to a career season right now. And he's playing good defensively as well. He's not coughing up the puck as much. He's managing it a lot better in all three zones. So that's one of those things where I don't bet on something like that happening, but there are occasions, i.e. the Stamkos one, where it does happen. You and I talked about this. Coconut Kyle would love that. Willing to help write those if you want. Yes, one of these days, if I could at least make this enough to where it could be a side gig where I could employ some people on a part-time basis as well, just to do little things for me, like record advanced stats and regular stats both, like per game, so that way I can make like graphs and everything like that. That would be immensely helpful in of itself. Like that would make my day. And, it's like right now I'd have to do that at an all volunteer basis. But, I came into this with the intention of like, okay, if it starts doing well, then maybe I'll turn it into a side business of some sort. If it never makes me $1, so be it. But things are going really well with it right now. And that's primarily thanks to guys like, you guys being in here supporting it and everything like that. And, I can't be grateful enough. Yeah, that's which websites I'm talking about that would post articles like article headlines like that. And no, I'm not going to ban you. Austin Holmes, what's up, buddy? What do you believe that Freddie could have suffered during the Kraken game that could have cost Spencer Martin recall? Any chance Freddie could be back by Halloween game, or too early to tell? I would say too early to tell. I did notice that he went over to the bench a few times, and it looked like that when Doug Bennett was looking at him, it had something to do with the bottom half of the leg. So I knew it wasn't an equipment issue. Otherwise, it would have been Bob Gorman or George Alves over there looking at it. I think that he maybe just had some sort of maybe he's just got some sort of a pulled hamstring, a little tendonitis, something like that. Now, I have nothing to verify that. That's just pure speculation on my part. So it's too early to tell. However, Kochetkov was going to go tonight, and then now we can maybe safely ascertain that there's a possibility that Freddie would not be ready for the game on Halloween. Therefore, you have Spencer Martin ready to go. In the event that you need to do that. But if Kochetkov plays well enough tonight, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't just let him play on Halloween. So we'll see what happens. He's going to be talked about quite a bit once we get to the slides. Freddie had diarrhea from chicken Big Mac. There's a chicken Big Mac now. I mean, I don't really eat McDonald's anymore. The only time I go there is for breakfast. I mean, I know judging by my appearance, you'd be like, haha, we don't believe you. I'm more of a Taco Bell guy personally. Me and Tripp would really get along. Troll Trades, hey, what's up, bud? Dylan, good to see you, pal. I'm feeling pretty good going into this game. Hopefully by the end of it, I still feel that way. I feel good about this one too, and I'll get into that here in a moment. I'm glad you're live, Missouri, Mike. People actually think him and I are the same person. It's fucking hilarious. Coconut Kyle, Taco Bell, hell yeah. That's like my favorite. So other than Bojangles, so I really like Bojangles and I really like Taco Bell. Those are my two favorite fast food places. Chick-fil-A, I guess I would give third place. Everything else I'm kind of like about. I could take it or leave it, usually leave it in a lot of cases, but Bojangles, Taco Bell, and I would say Chick-fil-A are probably my top three. The one thing that McDonald's I feel like has on everybody is the fries. Those things are so good, but I forget what the name of it is. You can't pronounce it. There's some sort of additive in it or something that's like really fucking bad for you. So it's like, I don't really fuck with that, but get to one more comment here and then we'll get to the other stuff. Lego Canes, what's up, Scott? Colby McLam. After Burns leads the team through starvation, he is a lock for a goal tonight. No, I would say it's actually surprising to me that he just didn't go out in the forest and kill something and drag it back to the bus for them to eat. It's showing that he's evolved, that he would just go buy something. So good on him. But no, that was actually really cool of him. And those guys don't get to eat stuff like that very often. So it's pretty cool when they get a chance to just kind of relax and, eat something like that. I'm not trying to get political on here, but when Trump had I think it was Clemson over after they won the national championship, when he had him at the White House during the government shutdown and he ordered a bunch of McDonald's and Wendy's and Domino's and other stuff, those kids, they never get to eat shit like that. So they were probably as happy as they could be. Dylan says, watching Game 3, killing time until the best sport comes on. Well, in my opinion, yeah, I love hockey more than anything, but baseball is a close second. If the Braves were in the World Series, I would probably not be doing the show right now, or I would be doing it half-heartedly. Austin Holmes also says, too bad McDonald's ice cream machines are always broken. Yeah, I've actually never had the McDonald's ice cream. I'm not a big sweets person. I prefer to have my extra calories from things that are fried, and I really like bread. Like, you think Oprah loves bread? I really, really fucking like bread. All right, so let's get to the main subject matter of this entire entity here. Oh wait, I will talk about this real quick. Pat the ref, Braves Reds next year at Bristol. If I kind of want to go to that, but I'm also kind of like, I'm not going to be able to see the damn game. If I'm going to go to Bristol, I'm going for its intended purpose, because that's a racetrack I've always wanted to go to. I love Bristol, even though the next gen car kind of sucks there. I would love to go see a race at Bristol. I just haven't got around to it yet. Oh, wait, that said go Reds. I'm going to ignore that. I'd rather the Dodgers win because I always like Freddie. Yeah, Freddie Freeman. Yeah, that would be my one reason for wanting the Dodgers to win. One of my best friends in the whole world is a Yankees fan. I would like for them to win for his sake, though. That would be pretty cool. All right, so on to in regards to the game tonight. So the Hurricanes lines unchanged. I'm totally fine with that. I thought those lines worked really, really well. They had a very dominant game for the most part in the last game. What we're going to talk about more than anything here is where Vancouver can get a lot of its net positives at to win this game. So far in the season, the Canucks are 4-1-2. They have lost their last 3 games, but they've only lost 1 in regulation, and that was to Tampa, which is the only team that has beaten us other than St. Louis. And they were the only team who I think really had sustained periods of time where they were the better team in the course of a single game, except for the one sequence where St. Louis managed to take over the entire game. So I'm glad that they didn't change anything with the lines here. It worked out really well. So we're going to talk about the Canucks lines here first. So you have Niels Höglander, Elias Pettersson, Connor Garland. That is a very, very dynamic line. I know that I got into it with that one guy that one time. I don't know if you ever saw it, that was trying to say that Pettersson was better than Aho defensively. He is not, but Pettersson is still got a really, really solid two-way game, and he is absolute money in the offensive zone. Niels Höglander has really come up as being a definitive top 6 winger for the Canucks in the last few years. Connor Garland, think about a lower end, I don't want to call him a discount version of Seth Jarvis, but he's Seth Jarvis without being nearly as good as Seth Jarvis, but he's still a really, really good player. So that top line, it's got a lot of speed between all 3 of them. And Pettersson loves to get to the middle of the ice and use that shot of his, but he's also a really good playmaker. That's a very well-balanced, really good top line. The second line, you have Jake DeBrusk, JT Miller, Brock Besser. Again, you have a guy in Brock Besser who can score at will if he's in the right position to do so. If you give him time and space, he will pick a corner. He will put the puck in the net, keep him out of high danger areas. That's why he's with someone like JT Miller, who has a lot of size. He's a really good possession player. He creates open ice. He creates time and space. And if he can't create those things, he just runs over somebody to the front of the net or getting to a loose puck. He creates offensive opportunities using his size. He does that really well. Jake DeBrusk, again, hardworking player, hardworking forechecker, but also has a scoring touch. So solid top 6, but this is the one time that I'm going to say the Hurricanes top 6, if that's what you want to call it, because the Hurricanes go for an even distribution with the lines. I would say that they maybe have a pretty decent advantage here. At least they're about equal. You get to the third line, Danton Heinen, Teddy Bluger, Kiefer Sherwood. They're going to cause you some problems as far as checking goes, but you can keep the scoring of that line down. They're going to be reliant to go out there and try and match up with the Aho line to try and keep them off the board a whole lot. And then lastly, you have Baines, Suter, and Sprong for a fourth line. Carolina has a definitive advantage throughout the lineup in depth. Now, here's the other thing. They also have an advantage with the defense. One thing I want to point out here, the Hughes-Hronek pair kind of functions in the same manner as the Gostisbehere and Walker pair does for us. The difference is they are heavily, heavily reliant on that pair. That is their first pair, whereas the Gostisbehere and Walker pair is our third pair, if that's what you want to call it. Both of those pairs are ones that are deployed heavily in offensive zone draws. They're expected to generate a lot of offense. They're expected to put pucks on net. They're expected to generate juicy rebounds. They're expected to generate a lot of high-danger scoring chances. Hughes and Hronek do that for the Canucks, but they have to lean on that pair a whole lot more. Carolina's third pair, if that's what you want to call Gostisbehere and Walker, is better than their second and third, and is on par with their top pair in terms of being able to generate stuff off of the offensive zone draw, but still defensively competent enough to prevent transition plays and defend well in their own zone when play goes back the other way. So Carolina here, stacked on defense here. I think that they have a really, really good advantage there. Susie, Myers, solid second pair, but nowhere near as good as anywhere in Carolina. Same thing with Branson and Desharnais. So Carolina should be able to win as far as looking at the overall defensive structure of things. Now, where you want to push it against Vancouver in the defense, you want to do that on the left side. Hughes, really high risk, really high reward type of player. Carson Soucy, not so much. Eric Brandstrom is. You can get pucks in behind those guys and exploit that left side. That's what you want to go for against the Vancouver Canucks defense, especially off the rush. This is one of those nights where dump and chase actually would probably be a little bit more effective than it normally is, and the Canes are going to do it anyway, so why not? Now, looking at their last 5 games as far as leading scorers go, the aforementioned Martin Necas has 8 points in his last 5 games. Whatever jitters he had about a contract seemed to not really be bothering him at this point. JT Miller, like I was talking about before, excellent power forward, and he creates opportunities by using his size, using his frame, and basically just getting people out of his way. It's hard to take a puck away from JT Miller. Imagine a version of Jordan Staal who can score more often and is a little bit faster. That's a lot like what JT Miller is. Then you have Shane Gostisbehere, 3 goals in his last 5 games. Of course, we know that he had his goal-scoring streak finally snapped. We'll see if it comes back tonight. I'm not expecting it to. I think that this is going to be a little bit, or I'm expecting something special teams-wise to be a big factor. I'll get to that in the next slide. And then lastly, assists, Sebastian Aho, Quinn Hughes. When we get to talking about special team stuff in the next slide, Quinn Hughes is going to get talked about a whole lot. But the biggest thing that we have to remember here with Quinn Hughes is he's one of the best playmakers and he's one of the best puck movers in the league. In my opinion, and I know I piss a lot of people off when I say this, but, you know, I take my time formulating what I think about things. I think Quinn Hughes is the best of the family. I really do. Out of all the Hughes brothers that play, I think that Quinn's the best one. I really do. Defensive side of his game is underrated. You can get pucks behind him. You can make a traffic cone out of him in some situations, but it's not nearly as easy as it is for a lot of other players who are described as offensive defensemen. So in that regard, Hughes, very dangerous player with possession, loves to join the rush after generating it, and he can also create a lot of time and space and distribute the puck in situations a lot of other players can't, near the blue line, during sustained offensive zone shifts, and during the power play. We're going to get to that here in a moment. We'll do some more, see if there's some more comments here. Pat the Ref says, I'm a huge Reds fan, so I'm excited it's a shorter drive. Yeah, I've only ever seen the Braves in Nats Park, so that's another reason why I'm tempted to maybe try and make it to that game, because it would be fun. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about whether I'd want to go to that or not. It does look cool, though. Dylan says, I went to Bristol in 2009. Oh, yeah, that's back when the car was still good. Austin Holmes says, we definitely need to stay out of the penalty box because of the good talent they have on their first power play unit. Funny you mentioned that. That's exactly what I want to talk about next, is the power play. All right, so if you look at the statistics here, this is actually, especially for this early in the season, these two teams are pretty close. 26.1% for a power play versus 22.7% for Vancouver. So that's a lot closer than it looks. Carolina ranks 7th in the league. Vancouver ranks 11th in the league. As the season goes on, I wouldn't be surprised if these two teams are within about 1-2 percentage points of each other in terms of the power play. Penalty kill, again, pretty close. 85.2 for Carolina, 82.6 for the Canucks. So this has the ability, and I would imagine that it's probably going to, it definitely has the potential to turn into a special teams battle. I definitely think it's going to turn into a special teams battle. I think that one power play goal, one successful penalty kill, one shorthanded goal will decide this game. That is, empty netters aside, I think that that's a distinct possibility in this case. Face-offs, they're both close, 50.5% to 51.7%. Carolina's been climbing back up in the face-offs. Like I said, I don't see face-offs carrying the weight that a lot of other people do, but they are still important. Goals for per game, Carolina 3.29, which for them is actually pretty damn good considering what we've seen in the past, and 3.43 for the Vancouver Canucks. And the Hurricanes, goals against per game, this is where they have a decent amount of a difference, 2.29 to 2.86. So Carolina getting to form there in goals against per game. If they could be first in, say, I don't know, a couple of weeks, I would feel a whole lot better about it. Now, to Austin's point here, the power play. I'm going to talk about PP2 first because there's not much to say about it other than the fact it's better than our second power play unit at the moment. Niels Hoglander, Daniel Sprong, Jake DeBrusk, Philip Roenick. So with what I was talking about with how the Canucks top pair is kind of like Gostisbehere and Walker is for us. If Brent Burns was not on this team, Sean Walker could probably quarterback power play too. I think he's totally capable of it. So in this case, that pair right there, they're the first one on after Vancouver finishes killing a penalty, or if Vancouver has an offensive zone draw and they have last change tonight, you'll see it a lot. So both of those guys are capable of creating offense from the blue line. With power play 2, it's a little bit more of a grindy power play that will try to work to the front of the net, take the goalie's eyesight away, and get juicy rebounds and everything like that. If you're looking for somebody who's probably going to put a puck in the net on a clean look, Niels Hoglander, Jake DeBrusk in particular, who's going to be the guy who sets up most of those, Philip Roenick. Now, that unit, like I said, marginally, I would say decently better than our power play 2. Not as hard to stop as their top power play unit. Their top power play unit is good. This is JT Miller, Connor Garland, Brock Besser, Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes. That's 5 guys who are completely capable of putting the puck in the net, especially Pettersson and Besser. So additionally to that, you have a pretty equal distribution of left-handed and right-handed options on that first power play unit. So that right there alone is going to could cause you some issues. The Hurricanes, as aforementioned by Austin, need to stay out of the box tonight. If they give that power play too many opportunities, it's not going to end well. So that's going to be the biggest thing. And if you do have to kill penalties against them, do your best to clear it and deny entry. Do not let them set up. JT Miller will work to the front of the net. Connor Garland will work his ass off and go into the corner and retrieve pucks. Pettersson's going to be in the one-timer spot. Besser can shoot from just about anywhere. Quinn Hughes can set up and can quarterback a power play about as well as anybody in the league. He will find seam passes that not many other players can find. And he can set guys up, whether they're in the bumper spot or whether they want to do the pop-out plays in front of the net, or whether he wants to just generate a rebound and shoot it low through traffic with a silent wrister, or if he wants to drop a clap bomb. Biggest thing that you can do to limit power play 1, if Hughes has the puck, gap up on him really, really quick. Don't let him distribute it. The one thing that you can do is maybe make him cough it up, do something stupid with it, get him frustrated, get him to make a mistake. If JT Miller gets the puck, it's hard to take it away from him. Pettersson and Besser don't keep the puck on their stick for very long before they shoot it. And like I said, Connor Garland is kind of like Seth Jarvis. They have a very similar skill set, in my opinion. So as far as an overall power play advantage, Vancouver has it, and it's pretty high. So where the Hurricanes can counter that, an unstoppable force has to meet an immovable object. The immovable object needs to be the Hurricanes' penalty kill. If you have a night where the penalty kill does what it needs to do, if it's 3 for 3, 4 for 4, or whatever like that, if Carolina has a 100% penalty kill, or I would even wager to say an 80% if they have to, they probably win this game. It would be nice if the Hurricanes can keep it going with the power play as well, considering that's one thing they do rank a little bit higher than the Canucks on right now. But the thing is, the Hurricanes power play is a little bit more reliant. I would even say a lot more reliant on the first unit than it is on the second. The Canucks, even if you do manage to get that first unit off the ice, that second unit is not bad at all. That second unit is really good. Now, another thing that the Canucks have going for them right now as we look at the goaltending matchup, Kevin Lankinen is playing really, really well. 4 wins, 0 regulation losses, 1 overtime loss. Pyotr Kochekov, 2-1-0, with a 2.70 goals against average and an 8.96 save percentage. He's going to get better. He had that one kind of rough game in St. Louis, and I think that messed with him a little bit. But right now he knows that he's really got to step up, especially if Freddie's hurt. He's going to be getting more starts. Spencer Martin and him are not going to split the net evenly if Freddie is hurt for a little while. At least I don't imagine. Then you have Kevin Lankinen with a 1.95% goals against average and a 9.30 save percentage. So considering Lankinen is going to be their goalie tonight, and their goals their goals against per game are 2.86. Your goalie's not giving up 2, and the team in front of him is not giving up 3. So what the Hurricanes would have to do here is, once I get this pregame show and everything set up the way that I want it to, I'll have one of the last things it's going to say. It's going to be score this many, prevent this many, or something of that factor. This is a game where Carolina needs to prevent 2 and score 3 more than likely. I don't see a winning score for the Hurricanes being anything other than 3-2 or greater. not counting empty netters. So I think the Hurricanes need to score 3 tonight and prevent 3. That would be their best chance to win this one, considering those two metrics combined. And Kochetkov needs to have a little bit better of a game than what he had in St. Louis, and he was looking a little shaky in the last game that he played in as well. So if you get those things sorted out, they're going to be fine. But overall, if this turns into a special teams battle, Carolina will probably not win. If there's a lot of 5-on-5 play and Carolina controls the offensive zone a whole lot, prevents transition plays, and doesn't let them stay down there for very long, especially with the Hughes and Hronek pair on the ice, Carolina will win this game. If Vancouver sustains enough offensive zone pressure, especially with that pair out there or their top 6, they will win. So while Carolina does have an overall depth advantage, I think they'll be the better team 5-on-5. Their defense is better. Their team defense is better. Their transition play is better. Vancouver has a pretty decent advantage on paper right now in net and with the power plays. So I think that's all that I had time to put together for. Yep, that's all the slides I had for this particular one. So, but yes, to put this back up here to piggyback on what Austin was saying here, definitely need to stay out of the penalty box because of the talent that they have on their first unit. And even if the first unit doesn't score, the second unit is still good. Travis C says, hey man, who you got for the first goal tonight? I'm taking Aho. Keep up the good work. Thank you. I will say, you know who's really impressed me lately, even though he's not scoring a ton yet, but I think it's coming, is Svechnikov. So I'll say Svechnikov because I've been really impressed that he's tapping into that power forward style game that we know he can play. Speaking of, holy shit, it's almost game time. Let me get this comment read here, and then I'm going to grab me a sparkling water, settle in, and relax, and do what I always do, pet that evil animal over there on the head while I watch the game. We average about 2 goals against and wins. Yes. So, and this is one of those nights where the team that you're playing against tends to win if they score 3 or more. So I'm thinking 3-2 is what Carolina needs as far as an overall differential here to win the game. So, all right, guys. Now I will more than likely 110%, or I'll say 99% likeliness is I will not be doing damage report after this game, written or live. I will be doing the intermission report, which I'm thinking about calling the intermission radar, because I'm going for something thematic here, warnings, storms, all that type of shit. I will probably do the intermission radars, and then if I do damage report, whether it's written or whether it's live, it will be sometime tomorrow, but I would imagine I'm going to try to do damage report live tomorrow night in reference to this game. I don't know what I'm doing on Halloween just yet, so I may or may not be available for that game at all. Sunday against Washington, I will be going out with some friends of mine to watch that up here. However, I will have a landfall hour, and then damage report will either be the next day, or I will be doing landfall hour. Damage report will probably be written that night, and I will be incommunicado for the next 5 days because I'm not going to be here during the fucking election because it's going to suck and I don't want to fucking deal with it. So I'm going to literally be off the grid, not going to deal with that. So I guess Frank wants to say hi. Frank, come here. All right, we're going to let the audience decide. Audience, should my co-host get this delicious treat? Come here, buddy. I don't know, man. I don't think they want you to have the treat. Nobody's saying anything. You're going to get the treat anyway. Don't worry. Coconut Kyle and B say that you can have it. Spin. Okay, shake. Good boy. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Go get it. All right, we'll get through the last of the comments here. All righty. B says, thanks for the pregame video. Let's go, Canes. Thank you for joining me at this irregular hour. Coconut Kyle, absolutely yes. Pet the damn dog. Oh, he gets pet all the time. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. That dog, he lives like a king. He didn't at first. Before I got him, he didn't. Good boy gets a treat. Yep. Good boy gets a treat. I'm also still selfishly hoping that the Hurricanes will give him one if we win tonight. Oh yeah, that's for sure. Also, I'll talk about this real quick and then I'll jump off of here. So I started when I first got him was 2018-2019 season. And I developed this like weird, like one of my superstitious traditions. I started calling him Doggy Hamilton as a nickname. So every time that Dougie scored a goal, I gave him a treat. And then after that, he became Tony Dog Angelo. So every time Tony would score, I would give him a treat. And I think now the new person for that is going to be Goss Despair. What I would really like to happen if the Hurricanes could get Frank Vetrano, then I could start calling him Frank Dogtrano because his actual name is Frank. So that's what I would like to do for my own selfish reasons. But I also think Frank Vetrano would be a good fit in Carolina. But that's a story for another day. I was thinking about that when I was watching the Ducks and Devils last night. So you guys have fun. Hopefully we win this game, because if I stayed up and they don't win, I'm going to be kind of pissed, because that's how I felt for the first 40 minutes against Edmonton the other night. Thank you guys very much for joining me. Oh, wait. Thanks for the pregame. See you guys at the intermission. Dogs Despair. That's hard to pronounce. I like it, but damn, it's hard to say. We'll come up with something. Dogs Despair. I'm going to have to practice that, but I think I can say it. Do you think we score on the power play again? If it's the first unit, yes. If the second unit gets one, it's probably a fluke. But, all right, I'm going to jump out of here and watch the game, guys. Thank you very much for joining me. I will see you. I will have stuff posted on X during the intermissions. Thank you all very much. I was surprised to get this kind of an audience tonight. This is awesome. All right, guys. I'll see y'all later. Take care.